Welcome to the second video presentation in relation to scientific notation. This time we're looking at the conversion of numbers to scientific notation, and this follows a fairly standard set of rules. So the first thing you need to do when you look at the number is you have to consider whether the number to convert is greater than 1 or less than 1. Now, if our number is greater than 1, say for example our number we wish to convert to scientific notation is 5,800. That is obviously greater than 1. So what you need to do is put a decimal point after the first non-zero digit. Now, by that I mean we'll end up with 5.8. So 5 is our first non-zero digit. Then you need to multiply by a power of 10 such that the product generates the original number. So I need to get back from 5.8 to 5,800. In other words, I need to multiply this number by 1,000. Or, if you want to think of it another way, I wish to move this decimal point across 3 spots so that I get back my original number. So, there you go. It will become 5.8. There's my 5.8 multiplied by 10 to the 3. 10 to the 3 because this decimal point will move us across 3 places. Let's just look at 2 more examples. So, okay, 960. So first I do decimal point after the first non-zero digit. That will become 9.6. Now my decimal point is here and I need to move across 2 decimal places. So doing that I end up with 9.6 multiplied by 10 to the power of 2. Let's look at this much longer number. 98,967. Again, decimal point after the first non-zero digit, so it becomes 9.8967. Then, what I need to do is move this decimal point across 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I do is I multiply by 10 to the power of 4. All good. And that's it for that slide. And I'll move to the next slide. Now, in this circumstance, what do we do if the number we wish to convert is less than 1? So, an example would be 0.078. Now, by less than 1, I should clarify that I mean a number that's between 0 and 1. So not negative numbers. So, I need to move the decimal point to after the first non-zero digit and drop all the leading zeros. So, in other words, I need to move this decimal point across to there. So I'll show you what I mean. That becomes 7.8. Now, what I need to do now is multiply by a negative power of 10 such that the product generates the original number. So I need to basically multiply by a number which will bring this number back to that. In other words, with this, the decimal point has been moved 2 places. So I will need to multiply by 10 to the power of negative 2. So, in other words, what I'm doing with that, 7.8 will be divided by 100, which will be bringing that decimal point across over there to give you back the 0.078. So, we'll do a couple of examples here. Let's look at 0.960. So, decimal point to make 9.6. And I can see that I've moved my decimal point across by 1. So you'll see that this becomes 9.6 by 10 to the power of negative 1. We'll do another one. Right, look at this one, 0.00098967. So first up, write the number by moving that decimal point across to that first non-zero digit. And how many spots have I moved that decimal point across? 1, 2, 3. That will become my index. So there you have it. So we'll do a couple of examples. Let's look at 99.67. So just grab my pen here. I need to consider this will become 9.967 multiplied by 10 to the power of something. Now, is this number greater than 1? Yes, it is. So I know that I will have a positive exponent or a positive power here. Next thing I need to do is how many decimal points, how many places have I moved my decimal point? I've gone from the 9.967 to there. I have moved it one place. So my power here will be +1. You don't really need the plus, but it's not wrong either. Okay, so if you want to just double check, +1 means I'll be moving this decimal point across this there, and that becomes 99.67. Okay, I'll clear that annotation, move across with the next question. So this time we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the first thing I ask myself, is that a number greater than 1? Yes, it is. So therefore my power will be positive. Now, next thing, my decimal point will go after the first non-zero digit. So that's my 1. And then I'll write the rest of the numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to multiply that by 10 to the power of something. Right, I'm not sure what that number is up there yet, what the power is. Now, how many decimal points, how many places do I need to move that decimal point to get back to my original number? I need to start here, I'm going to have to move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will be multiplying by the power of 6. Right, let's clear that one up and we'll move to the next one. So this time the number is 9974. So write it as 9.974 by 10 to the power of something. Now, again, we know it's a positive power because the number is greater than 1. Now, next thing, how many spots do I need to move my decimal point across to get back to my original number? 1, 2, 3. So that will be to the power of 3. Right, let's move to the next one. Feel free to pause, have a bit of a think and a reflect if you're not too sure. Okay, look at the next one. Now that number there is less than 1, so I know straight off I am going to have a negative power. So I need to move the decimal point to after the first non-zero digit. So I will go to 9.45, and I'm going to multiply that by 10 to the power of something. And the trick here is to say, well, okay, how many places am I moving this decimal point? How many would I have to move this back to go there? Or maybe it's easier, look at going this way, forward. To the right, I would move that across back one spot here. So that will be to the power of -1. Okay, we'll move to the next one. Over here somewhere. Alright, I can't see where this is to remove it, never mind. I will just write this as now. I need to move my decimal point across to the first non-zero, which will be straight after the 2. So 2.34 by 10 to the power of something. Now, that number is less than 1, so I know it'll be negative. Now, how many decimal do I need to move across this decimal point to get to that 2? That will tell me the multiplying factor. So I'll be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 to the power of -4. Do I have any more? Yes, I have one more. So we'll look at this very last one. So I'll just clear that annotation and we'll do this very last one. Now, how many decimal? Well, let's move this decimal point to directly after the first non-zero digit. So it'll be moving over to directly after there. So that will become 2.0002 by 10 to the power of, now I know that number is less than 1, so it will be negative. And the last thing I need to do is say, well, how many decimal places? How many places do I move this decimal point? I will move it across 1. And then you can see that that number reflects back what I had there. So by moving it across 1, there you have it. So hopefully this video has assisted you with an understanding of converting numbers to scientific notation. Previous video, part A, would take you from this back that way. So going that way, that's the part A, and in this video we have discussed going in this direction.